The first rule they taught us at the Interstellar Human Exchange Program was simple. Never assume emotion means the same thing across species. I remembered that rule clearly the moment she smiled. Her name was Kalith, 9, though she insisted I call her Kale. She wasn't human, not even close. Her species, the Varelians, had skin that shimmered faintly like liquid metal under the station lights, eyes without pupils, and a face that moved with precise, controlled expressions. According to our xenolinguists, Varelians did not smile in the way humans did. A smile, they said, was an involuntary exposure of neural pleasure, something Varelians considered dangerously intimate. So when Kale smiled at me, I assumed I had misunderstood. The station hovered between two suns, a massive ring of glass and steel suspended in permanent twilight. It was my first off-world assignment after Earth opened its borders to formal alien diplomacy. I was chosen not for brilliance or bravery, but for something far less heroic: emotional stability. At least, that's what the file said. My job was simple on paper: observe, document, and assist Kalith, 9, during her cultural immersion. She was here to study human creativity, music, art, storytelling, emotions that Varelians had long classified as inefficient but fascinating. I was warned repeatedly, Varelians do not express approval easily. Which is why, when I showed her the thing I wasn't supposed to show anyone, her reaction shattered every expectation. It happened during our 4th week together. The station had gone quiet, artificial night settling in. Kale stood near the observation window, watching Earth rotate slowly in the distance. I had been carrying the object in my jacket for days, debating whether to reveal it. Finally, I did. This, I said, pulling it out carefully, is something humans make when they feel too much. It was a crude thing by galactic standards, a small wooden carving I'd made back on Earth. No machines, no precision tools, just my hands, a blade, and hours of quiet thought. It wasn't perfect. The lines were uneven, the symmetry flawed. Kale took it from me. She turned it slowly, scanning it with her eyes instead of her wrist analyzer. That alone was unusual. Varelians preferred data over instinct. Minutes passed. I felt ridiculous, vulnerable. Then her facial plate shifted. Her lips curved upward, and she said, softly, almost experimentally, "I like it." I stared at her, my heart hammering. I couldn't believe it. Middle. From that moment on, everything changed. Kale began requesting more time outside the structured observation hours. She asked questions no Varelian had ever officially recorded. Why do humans create things that serve no function? Why do imperfections matter? Why did your pulse accelerate when I said I liked it? I answered as honestly as I could. In return, she showed me fragments of her own culture, memories projected directly into my neural implant. I experienced her world through sensation, endless crystalline plains, cities grown instead of built, a society that prized logic so intensely that emotional deviation was quietly corrected. Varelians weren't cruel. They were efficient. Kale, however, was different. She admitted it one night as we watched artificial stars pulse across the station dome. My superiors believe emotional variance leads to instability, she said. Yet I feel more complete when exposed to yours. I joked, trying to hide my unease. Careful. That's how humans get blamed for interstellar incidents. She didn't smile that time. I am serious, she said. Your art, your stories, this carving, it activated neural pathways we were taught to suppress. That's when I realized the danger. The exchange program wasn't just about learning. It was about evaluation. If humans were deemed emotionally contagious, destabilizing, we could be restricted. Or worse. I tried to pull back after that. kept our interactions formal. Limited. Kale noticed immediately. "You are withdrawing," she said one evening. "I'm protecting you," I replied. "And my species." She stepped closer than protocol allowed. "Is protection always separation?" Before I could answer, alarms rippled through the station. An incoming Varelian envoy had arrived, unexpected and unannounced. High-ranking. The next days were tense. Kale was summoned for extended evaluations. I was excluded. Rumors spread among the human staff. Varelians had detected anomaly markers in her neural scans. Markers consistent with emotional divergence. I knew what that meant. Varelians didn't imprison their own. They reformatted them. I broke every rule that night. I accessed restricted channels, intercepted Kale before her final assessment, and told her everything. "If they proceed," I said, voice shaking, "you won't be you anymore." She was silent for a long time. Then she reached out and touched the carving I had returned to her weeks ago. "I like who I am becoming," she said, "even if it is inefficient." That was when I understood the weight of her smile. It wasn't approval. It was choice. Ending. The final hearing took place in the station's central chamber, a space designed to intimidate, towering Varelian observers suspended in light, their voices harmonized into a single, resonant authority. Kale stood alone in the center. I watched from the human delegation platform, powerless, my hands clenched so tightly they hurt. "She exhibits emotional deviation," the council intoned, "influenced by human interaction. This threatens Varelian societal equilibrium." Kale lifted her head. "I request permission to speak without filtration." A murmur rippled through the chamber. Permission was granted. She turned, not toward her own kind, but toward us. "Humans create without necessity," she said. "They feel without efficiency. Yet in doing so, they adapt. They survive chaos. They find meaning beyond logic." Her gaze found mine. "My interaction with this human did not weaken me," she continued. "It expanded me." The council hesitated. That alone was historic. Then Kale did something no Varelian had ever done in recorded history. She smiled. Not briefly. Not accidentally. She held it. "This," she said, "is preference. And preference is not corruption. It is evolution." Silence followed. Deep, unsettling silence. Finally, the council rendered its decision. Caliph. 9 would not be reformatted. Instead, the exchange program would expand. Emotion would be studied, not as a flaw, but as a variable. When the chamber emptied, Kale approached me slowly. "I may no longer be welcome on my homeworld," she said. I swallowed. Earth isn't perfect. We're messy. Loud. Emotional. Her lips curved again, softer this time. "I like it," she said. And this time I believed her. We stood together beneath artificial stars, two species at the edge of something fragile and new. Not peace, not alliance, but understanding. It wasn't efficient. It wasn't logical, but it was real. And for the first time in human history, the galaxy didn't just observe us. It felt us.